Okay, so this is day 3 of this colt. Did the first day of catching him. The second day I laid him down and sidelined him, and then later on off camera I sidelined him on the other side and let him cruise around, sidelines on. As you can see, he's not a real wild, crazy guy anyway. He's pretty laid back, but this is day 3 of working him. It's not the 3rd day in a row because I don't get an opportunity to work these colts more than one day in a row most of the time because got ranch stuff to do. So kind of gets worked and then he gets a day or two to think about it, and then gets worked and gets a day or two to think about it. So I'm going to go ahead and start in on my sacking out process. This is just a gunny sack, and they're kind of hard to find anymore, but you can find them. And I just like to rub them all over with this. And the reason I like to use a gunny sack over a lot of other things is because it really feels good to them. And like, this colt's not too flinchy or anything, but even the ones that are, they get to where after a while they kind of like the way it feels, and then they get to where they like it. I used to with all of them. I'm too lazy anymore, but I used to with all of them, and I now still do with some of them that are kind of flinchy. I'll go ahead and groom them with this gunny sack for the first 30 days or so. See how he is about his hind feet from those shackles he had on. He wants to pick that up for me. I'm not trying to get you to pick it up. I'll get it around here and get it up under everywhere. I do the same with the hind leg, but I kind of do that as the last parts where I'm pretty confident about how he's going to be. My deal with this, if I'm not real confident about doing it like this, well then that just means I need to spend more time. This colt was a little touchy about his face. Before and after just a little bit of working with him, he's pretty good about it. That gunny sack feels nice. And I found that gunny sack's just enough of a barrier between my actual hand on these ones that are a little touchy about their face. I can get to feeling them around a little bit, and they like that better than now he'll let me use my hand. And see, he's still a little touchy about my hand, and just because I don't have the barrier of that gunny sack. If he wanted to be real bad about this, that'd be something I'd do every day, where I'd kind of run this gunny sack over his head and then run my hand over it. But he's not wanting to be real bad about it. He's just a little touchy. It's all right. I don't like my nose touched either. Over here. I'll do the other side, because horse in the right eye and there's a different horse in the left eye, and you can't expect the one on the left to tell the one on the right you're coming. If you'll notice, I don't really hold on to this lead rope, but I just keep it in the crook of my arm here in my elbow. I've always still kind of got it. And more than anything, I've just got a feel of him, just kind of a connection to him. If he decides to leave, I kind of get a little head start on it. Not so much that I can pull him around with it with my arm, but he didn't like this hind leg touched near as bad. Partially because he's giving him that lead rope so good, so I'll give him some more slack. There we go. He says, I didn't care if you touched my hind leg, you were just pulling me around. I was doing what I thought I was supposed to do. There again, like I've said over and over, this colt's pretty gentle, but he's not been handled 10 times in his whole life. And I'm able to slip around him like this and touch him like he's really broke, stick my head under there under his hind legs, because of the work that got done with with those sidelines. They helped me a bunch. Taking them off and putting them back on. He got real confident about who I am and where I'm at. So next I do it with a slicker. I don't know that it's really that necessary to do it twice like I do, but I do. And just, a slicker is kind of a real life thing in this world where a Walmart bag on a stick isn't. And so it doesn't necessarily feel good to him. It's got definitely an irritating sound to me, so I assume he's somewhat irritated by it. And I rub him all over and then kind of get him broke to this kind of stuff. You notice I'm not waving it around and slapping him with it. You know, there's all kinds of stuff that you see people do and they're proud of the fact that they can just slap that colt with it and they don't even flinch. I don't know, that's not cool to me. If I slap him with this, I want him to get the heck out of the road. You know, there's got to be a line between tolerant and just dead. Because there may come a day where I do whack him with this because I'm trying to get him out of my road, or want to bush him off, or whatever. But that's also rude, just slapping him like that. You know, somebody walked up, slapped me with a slicker, I'd slap him back. Unless it was like Mike Tyson, then I'd say, "Thank you, sir, can I have another?" I'll make a little more of a deal out of it. He is a little funny on this side. But I'm not going to make any more of a deal about that. Thank you. Any more of a deal about this than I do when I go to saddle him, and I try to be real polite when I saddle him, so there's no reason to be rude with this. So now this is his first time he's been hobbled because of what the sidelines did. Just because I've done this on hundreds of them, I'm going to take a wild guess here and say he kind of tests it about twice and then goes, feet are tied together. See, he's even trying to give me that foot because he's used to that pull on that sideline. There, he's trying it once, and he says, that seems to be tied together. I guess I'll just stand here. Here's kind of my test. I'm gonna stand on this lead rope so he can't get away and get in trouble. He didn't really like me dropping that there. He's just seeing how much he can move. So this is his first saddling. Putting this on there, just like I did the slicker. Sometimes they jolt to that a little bit just because it is heavier. It's a different feel to it. I got a bunch of rigmarole hooked on here that I don't need for this colt. Really irritates me when a horse puts his nose on me like that, and usually I push him away, but he's trying to be so good. That'll be a different lesson. Some point later in his career, I'll go to just reaching over the top of the saddle and dropping that, just because that's how it's going to be his whole life. Early on here, I kind of make a point to walk over and do it, just to have another opportunity to get over on that side of the colt. Notice I didn't just throw that up like he was broke. I put my hand here and set it easy. He gets the motion and everything, but not the pop. Some people go about this, and I agree with treat them like they're broken and act that way, but some people go about this and over animate all that stuff because they're a colt. And, they got to get used to it. I just don't think that's the way it works. I tighten these colts, I tighten them up a little. I let it off, tighten it up a little more. And because he's had that rope around his belly, when I laid him down, he's not blowing up to that, bracing against it. He already learned why he doesn't want to brace against it. Got yourself in a pickle. That's too tight for me to undo, dude. There you go. Okay, that's his first saddling. See if I can get him to move off just a hair before I turn him out in the big wide open world. Most of his hesitation there was he hadn't been hobbled enough times to know when he's unhobbled. Okay, I just wanted to see him move his feet just in case he is going to have a problem. I can deal with it. I don't have my gate set, but I will get them set. And I'm just going to turn him loose off into the big round pen where he can cruise around, he can run, he can buck. I'm going to do his partner, put him out there, and then I'll just spend the rest of the afternoon cruising around out there. I like to do this because I find a lot of times in these little round pens, especially these kind of range bred colts, they don't buck or do anything because they can't find a spot to do it. They feel too confined. So I give him plenty of room here. If he wants to act dumb, he's more than welcome to. And like I say, I'll just let him cruise around here. I got to lope a couple other horses around, so once I get these two saddled, I'll probably get on that other horse and lope around them a little bit and move them off, maybe swing my rope with their legs a little. Who knows what I might do. But this will be their first day of this, and then tomorrow or whenever the next time I get a chance to work these two, they'll get their first ride. So that's it, pretty simple. The simpler the better. Somebody said one time, if you're having a heck of a lot of fun riding colts, you're doing it wrong. I have a lot of fun having it be like that. He meant if it's wild and pistol waving and you've got your quirts down and everybody's laughing and buckering around, he meant you're doing it wrong. And I agree. To me, if you're doing it just slow and quiet and there's nothing exciting happen, then you're really doing stuff right. I know people come and they say, well, we mind if we just sit on your round pen and watch you? And I say, no, heck, I don't mind, but it's boring. I try to keep it boring. The more boring it is, the better, as far as I'm concerned. So that was probably pretty boring, but I think the people who watch these videos will appreciate that. I always try to say something really smart and funny at the end, but I can't think of anything. So